All right, can you all hear me? Yes, okay. There we go. Yay! All right. Let me pull up my slides again. Okay, here we go. So, thank you all for your patience this morning. We were having a little bit of technical difficulties, but nonetheless, we're going to go ahead and get started with Black girls in corporate America. And so, for starting off our conversation today, I want to start off with a story that happened to me personally. When I received my first promotion at work, I heard things like, Kirsten, you only got this job because you're a Black woman and they're trying to increase their diversity at the company. Or I heard other people say, there wasn't a lot of qualified people who applied for this job, so you only got it because the competition was light. Or I heard people say, you're so young and you're willing to work the crazy hours that this job requires, so that's why you got the job. And how many of you all have heard something like this in your career journey? Whether someone tried to belittle your experience or say that you did not deserve something that came to you. I see some people say, honey, yes, thanks, Brandy. Put in the chat if you've heard anything like that. Yes, that is real for us as Black women. And so for me, I love data. I like understanding, what does the data say around this? So I did some research on the Black experience for Black women at work. And here's what I found. According to Lean In, which is a organization that focuses on studying the experiences of women, what they found is that the workplace is worse for Black women. So if we think about men, we know that the experience for women is worse than men. And if we think about white women, if we think about women in general, people of color or women of color have worse experience than white women. And then Black women have the worst experience out of every single person at work. And that was really hard for me to read and to hear. And I wanted to understand why it is that way. Here's what I learned. What I learned is that there are not a lot of Black women in the workplace. And so, what works for Black women is not going to work for white women. So, as we think about things and resources that are out there, so what works for men aren't going to work for women, and what works for Asian women aren't going to work for Black women. And so, for today, I want to equip you all with some of the unwritten rules to Black girl magic in the workplace. And even more, being a Black woman and being a human resources professional my entire life, I have experienced direct and indirect discrimination in the workplace. So, my credibility and my why for this conversation today is tied to my being and to my existence. So, I'm going to share with you all three of the unwritten Black girl magic rules for the workplace because no matter what happens to us as Black women, we still rise to the occasion and we always put our best foot forth. So, we're going to use the chat a little bit here. I want to hear from you all. What does it mean to show up at work? So, write in the chat, what does showing up at work mean to you? So, in the chat, write down what showing up at work means to you. It can be anything like just clocking in, depending on where you are. Okay, providing for your family. Showing up means less excuses, more work. Yes. Bringing your best self. Yes. Being visible. Yes. Yes. Excelling. Yes. Being present. Absolutely. These are all really, really, really good responses. But here's what showing up at work means to me. This is the first rule of the unwritten rule for Black Girl Magic in the workplace. Showing up at work means that you are not going to be afraid to be yourself, and you are showing up for you and only you. So I'll say that again. Showing up means that you are not afraid to be yourself, and you are showing up for you and only you in the workplace. W.E.B. Du Bois had this whole idea of double consciousness, and I'm going to explain it to you all. Double consciousness means that we as Black women see ourselves as one way, and then the world sees us as another way. And oftentimes, we as minorities, particularly Black women, we're conflicted with which one we show up as because we don't want to be who we aren't. So let me put it into layman terms. For double consciousness, me, I see myself as a leader, right? That's what my parents instilled in me. They say, don't be a follower, be a leader. But on the other hand, the world may see my leading as me being bossy. So that can impact me in the workplace as me not showing up as my authentic self as a leader because I don't want to be deemed as bossy, right? For other women, I'm a strong Black woman, right? That's who I am. But on the other end, the world may see that, excuse my language, as an angry Black bitch. So that person is not going to show up, right? Because they're conflicted with who they're going to come as. And so today, I want to encourage you all with some tips of how we can show up, right? Because Black women are conflicted with double consciousness every single day in the workplace. And I want you all to know, do not let anyone dim your light with how you show up at work, right? And to show up and be yourself always for you. So, not for the world, not for your family, but for you as an individual. So, as my conversation today, if you know me, you know I give advice, but I also give actionable ways that you can implement this advice. And so, one of those ways that you can implement showing up at work, particularly as a Black woman, is by your name. So I purposely did not pronounce my name at the very beginning because I wanted to give you all an opportunity to take a stab at pronouncing my name. And if you know me, you got to sit this one out. So I'm going to invite some people on the stage. I'll pick someone. You don't have to come on camera if you don't want to. Um, but I want you to try to pronounce my name. Okay, let me see if did I invite her on? Chanel, I think I tried to invite you on the stage. Try this new technology here, but if it doesn't work, we'll move forward with it. Okay, there we go. Are you on here? Let's see, there we go. So Chanel, try to pronounce my name if you can. Uh-oh, we can't hear you. Is it just me that can't hear her? Okay, well, we'll move forward. So people have pronounced my name incorrectly pretty much my entire life, whether that be my family, my friends, colleagues. They would say Kristen, Christine, Kirsten, and I would respond to it, right? Yes. Okay. And so I would respond to it and I would never correct them because I didn't want to be seen as being mean or being bossy, right? The double consciousness issue. So I would allow people to mispronounce my name. But here's what I learned, you guys. What I learned is that your name is the greatest connection to your identity. And that is the base level of how someone can show respect for you. So I want to encourage you all. I know with African American women, we have unique names, right? I want to encourage you all to allow people to show you that level of respect, right? Don't allow anyone to mispronounce your name, to abbreviate your name, to give you a nickname because they can't pronounce your name. That's on them to learn how to pronounce your name, not on you. And I'm saying this from my experience because I have struggled with this in the workplace and even in my life. And one way that I use that and help people with that and with pronouncing my name is I add a name pronunciation in my email. So if people want to hear how to pronounce my name, they can just click this purple button here and they can hear the correct pronunciation of my name. And you can go to namecoach.com. It's completely free and you can add that to your signature as well. I know some people struggle with their first meeting, people don't want to break the ice and knowing how to say your name. So you can add that directly into your email. All right, the next thing that we want to talk about is hair, right? As Black women, this is our superpower, right? We can go from twist out, wash and go to a unit, to braids, to a silk press, all in a matter of a week if we wanted to. And I struggled with this so hard in my career, right? I remember my best friend, she got angry with me because I made a comment once. I said, I will never wear my natural hair at work because I don't want that to limit my ability to be a leader at work. Because all the Black women I saw had on units, they had straight hair. So I was never going to wear my natural hair at work because I hadn't seen it and I didn't want that to hold me back from my career. But here's what I learned: your hair does not determine your professionalism, your work ethic does. So if a company says, oh, well, you need to kind of get more professional with your hair, or, what's going on? How long did it take you to do your hair? Or, you just had braids last week. Did you get a haircut? All these, all the microaggressions that they hear y'all, that they say to us, y'all. That is not the company for you. I'm just going to say that flat out right now. If a company makes you change your hair, belittle a part of who you are, it may not be the company for you. So never dim your superpower when it comes to your hair in the workplace. I also wanted to let you all know that there is legal protection for you all in the workplace when it comes to your hair. It's called the Crown Act, and it was founded in 2019 by Dove and the Crown Coalition. And it allows protection for natural hairstyles, locks, twists in the workplace, and also in schools for children. Now, here's a view of the state and kind of where they are in getting the Crown Act passed. So I'm in Indiana. I know some of you all are in Illinois. It's pre-filed in our states, but states like New York and California already have the Crown Act enacted as a law. So knowing that you have this protection, if you do face discrimination for some reason, that is okay to know that you have it there as your protection. But I want to have a real talk with you all because I shared this presentation somewhere else and someone came up to me and they said, Kirsten, this is great, but I need a job, right? So if that means that I have to wear my straight hair for this interview to get this job because I need my money, that's what I'm going to do. And when they told me this, I was like, okay, that's fine. I hear you because people want to be heard, right? And I said, I want you to truly reflect on what you're willing to do for a job, right? Because if a company can't value for your natural hair, is that truly the company that you want to work for? And maybe today is going to be your hair, but tomorrow it can be something else. Is that what you're willing to do for yourself? And I asked her to reflect on that. And that's the same for you all, ladies. There may be hair for some people that are struggling with that. It may be, you not being able to show your camera because you have a picture in the background and people ask you questions. Whatever it may be, what are you willing to sacrifice about yourself for a job? Because just like a company interviews you, you can interview a company and know if this is going to be the place that you want to work for. And just like a company expects you to show up and do your best at a job, we can expect the same from a company. Speaking of showing out, I want you all to write in the chat, what does showing out at work mean to you? So in the chat, tell me what showing out at work means to you. Showing out at work. I think it's loading slow because I can't see any responses yet. Yes, showing out means helping others to me. Yes. Nailing a project, speaking up for myself. Yes. All of those things are 100% correct. Doing my best, being at the top, performing at high levels. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. All of that. So, rule number 2 of Black Girl Magic in the workplace is showing out at work. And here's what it means. Showing out means that you are leading with excellence and high quality work. You're doing the best that you can do, right? And you're exceeding expectations. So at the beginning, we talked about double consciousness, right? We talked about how the world sees us and how we see us, and how sometimes Black women are in a negative light. So instead of responding to, hey, I'm not bossy, I'm a leader, or hey, I'm not an angry Black woman, I'm actually strong minded, in the workplace, here's my advice for you all. Let your hard work and consistency dispel myths. And that's why rule number 2 is showing up and showing out at work and just being the best that you can be. Now, I know that we have some really strong women on this call today. And I know that you all are going to show up and show out. Like, you guys are hard workers just from the conversation that I see that you're having in the chat. So we're not going to focus on how to do that. What we're going to focus on now is how to advocate for yourself when you are showing out at work. Because this is the huge and this is the missing link that a lot of Black women miss out on, right? It's one thing to show out at work and do the best that you can do, but if the right people aren't recognizing and acknowledging it, it means nothing at all. So I want to tell you all about a story when a woman was exceeding expectations. She was showing out at work, but nobody noticed it and she got missed over for an opportunity. So this woman had been working in her job for about 5 years, and she was not only doing her job, but she was doing her boss's job. She was meeting all the metrics, she was doing all the things, being the best that she could be. So her boss ended up leaving the company. And she wanted to apply for the job, right? She had been doing the work. It made sense. It was a promotion. So she went to the boss's boss, so the senior leader, and said, "Hey, I'm interested in this role. Do you feel like I would be competitive? I really want this job." And the senior leader said, "Thank you for your interest, but I already have someone picked for this role. I didn't even know that you were interested. I didn't even know you were doing the work. So thank you, but I already kind of have my mind set up." This person came to me and they said, "Kirsten, what do I do? I thought it was obvious, that I was doing all these things. I was exceeding expectations, doing all this stuff. And now I missed out on this opportunity on this job that should be mine." So like I said at the beginning, whenever someone gives you feedback, people want to be heard. So I hear you. Thank you for sharing. But here was the issue. You didn't advocate for yourself. You never told anyone what you were doing. So the days of you working hard, putting your head down and getting noticed, those days are over. And let me tell you, as an HR professional, white women, white men, anytime they do something, y'all, they're sending emails saying, "Oh, look what I just did. I did this." And it was a part of their job, but they're advocating for themselves. They're creating that narrative and they're being vocal about the things that they want to do. And even more, women apply to jobs where they meet all of the qualifications. But women will only, or excuse me, men will apply when they only meet one. So women will apply if they hit every single thing on the list. And even Black women were good for this. But men and even some white women, they'll apply when they only meet one thing. So I say that to say that we have to be an advocate for ourselves. We have to stand up for what we want and be vocal. So it's me for me. You have to be your greatest advocate in the workplace. Here's some practical ways that you can do that. So like I told you all, I'm not going to just give you advice and then expect you to figure it out. So here are some ways that you can advocate for yourself at work, whether it be asking for a promotion, critiquing your manager. All of these things are word for word scripts that you can use to send an email to advocate for yourself. Now, for the sake of time, you all can go to my Instagram and you can download these or save it as a document within your Instagram feed so that you can use these in the workplace. Rule number 3. Now, if y'all don't hear anything else that I have said today, I want you all to hear rule number 3, and some of you all have said it in the chat. The most important rule is to pass it on to other people. I shared at the beginning how Black women have the worst experience, and what works for other demographics won't work for Black women. So it is our duty to bring other women along with us, to pass it on to other women. And let me tell you how I have seen this kind of not work in my favor, right? I had a conversation with someone in a recent one-on-one who was not a sister's keeper, right? She did not pass it on to me. And I left the conversation more discouraged than feeling supportive. So this particular individual, she had been at the company for about 7 years, the same company that I'm at for about 7 years. She's a Black woman. She is married. And if you all don't know, I'm getting married in 2 months. So I'm trying to navigate this space of, progressing in my career, but being a wife and being intentional about family planning. So I asked her, I said, what's your timeline for management and for kids and just your next steps in your career? And she was like, the level that I'm at, she's one step away from a management role. She said, it'll probably take me 2 to 3 more years to kind of get to that management role. And then from there, I will, from there, I'll go for the management role and have children. And she knew I was asking for my like own benefit and for feedback, right, to make an informed decision. So she asked me, okay, Kirsten, what about you? And I said, I'm thinking that I want to start applying for a management or a promotion in the next 2 to 3 years. And mind you all, she's a step above me. And so it's like another step to get to the role that I was talking about. So I'm level 2. I would need to go to level 4 is the position we're talking about. And she said, well, Kirsten, that's never going to happen. I've been at this company for 7 years and I'm a step above you. And you're saying that you want to be a step above me in the next 2 years. That's never going to happen. So I heard her. I said, thank you. Again, people want to be heard. Thank you for sharing. I hear you. I'm going to use this to make an informed decision on what to do. When I left that one-on-one, I left so discouraged. And not discouraged because she told me I couldn't do it. I got discouraged because as Black women, we should be our sister's keeper. We should want better for the next person. We should want to bring people along with us. So if it took you 7 years, it's going to take you, Kirsten. It took me 7 years. It's going to take you 3 because I'm going to give you play by play the things that I did wrong so that you don't have to go through the same exact things that I went through. And so it was disheartening to me to hear her say, no, that's never going to happen because this was my journey and your journey is going to be mine too. And so I want you all to know that in today's conversation, as Black women, I've already shared the data, all of the bad things per se, but we should be the person that we wish we had. We should be the person that is uplifting and bringing other people along on the journey with us. So in the chat, I want you all to say one way that you are going to pass it on to another Black woman at work. This can be mentorship. This can be a speaking engagement, speaking to somebody. This can be going out to lunch with someone. But I want you all to commit where you are in your career. Find another Black woman that's coming along the journey too, and sharing one way that you can pass it on to them and bring them up so that their journey will not be how yours was. So share one way in the chat that you will commit to uplifting another woman. Yes, Brandy, coaching. I brought over someone from my recent company so she could have an increase in salary. Yes, 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 yes. Share knowledge. Yes, these are all things. And noodle on this. This is what we do as Black women. We build and uplift other women up. So as a recap, here are the 3 of the unwritten Black Girl Magic workplace rules. Rule number 1, show up. How? Be your true self at work for you and only you. Rule 2, show out. How? Let your consistency and hard work dispel all the myths. And rule 3, pass it on. Be your sister's keeper and help another Black woman on her career journey. So I started off with the bad news, right? The bad reality. But here's the good reality. The future is Black women. Black women, I'm going to read these statistics so I don't get them wrong, but Black women remain highly ambitious in spite of the obstacles that we face. Black women are substantially more likely than white women, and just as likely as white men, to say that they are interested in becoming top executives at their company. And this is my favorite one. Black women are 50% more likely than men to say they are motivated and desire to be a role model for others that look like them. So the reality is the world is dependent on us, you guys. We have the ambition, we are motivated, and we can do the work. They need us. Yes, Lindsay, they need us. So to my Black women, I want you all to continue to showing up, to showing out, and passing it on in the workplace. And what I know is that the best way to remember something is to see it every single day. So I have created a Black Girl Magic spiral bound notebook for you all to purchase so that you can see it every day when you're showing up at work. It's typically $17, but if you use the code Black Girl Magic, you can receive 20% off at checkout, and you can purchase it at my website. And I saw in there that you all wanted my Instagram. I will type the Instagram and also the website in the chat for you all. And I didn't get a chance to introduce myself at the beginning because I wanted to say my name. I want you all to pronounce my name. But my name is Kirsten Davenport, and I am an HR professional for a pharmaceutical company here in Indianapolis. But in my spare time, I am also a career coach, and I help professionals become goal getters in their career by teaching them how to show up and show out at work. I am also a podcast host with my fiance, and our mission is to provide the unwritten rules of success to not only corporate individuals, but also to entrepreneurs. My fiance is an entrepreneur, and so we really want, like I said, bring people around along the journey with us, but also being the person that we wish we had. A couple of episodes that we've had, just to kind of give you line of sight, is we had a podcast that says, "Help, I have a bad boss. How do I manage this person?" Or I recorded a podcast yesterday, which is Intel, but it says, so we talked about how you can negotiate and how you can get paid for what you're truly worth. And in this episode, this individual walks you by step on the things to say and the things to actually ask for in the workplace. So I know we are at time, but if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer those. And I will also put my Instagram in the chat for you all to download that template. And then I'll also put my website in here as well. But wanted to leave it open for any questions that you all may have. And I will be around in the networking lab if you all have, any questions that you want to ask, like on a case by case or personally. Can you be my career coach? We can definitely talk about it. We can connect. Any questions that I can answer? Oh, thank you so much. Thank you all so much. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, I can say the names. Okay. So the correct way to say my name is Kirsten. Kirsten Davenport. I always say Kirsten. Yes. Yes. And if you all want to schedule a time with me, Tati said you all are able to do that. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Let's see here. All right. Well, thank you all so much. Thank you all for being here today. And I just truly hope that this conversation was inspirational and that we as Black women can rally together and get everything that is meant for us. So thank you all for joining today. And I will be around in the networking if you all want to connect or talk anything further through. All right. Thank you all so much.